fear of the dark, how to transform irrational thoughts that trigger fear to rational thoughts that trigger laughter. And I would like to share with you a short version of the long podcast that I had where creating a bond with a therapist and also challenging the child with his irrational thoughts, and then suddenly have him shift into a more rational thought that triggers laughter.
This is kind of the bullseye thing, because it's an amazing way. That's where the cognitive behavioral therapist comes out in you,
Yeah.
where you take something and you help reframe that in a positive light. How deep does it go? So can a child with that fear and attitude really shift their frame of mind?
If the child and when the child understands that you understand their story, you create a bond. You're a little bit like their guide, okay? And of course they're flexible, but they're being listened to, the magic of being listened to, the recognition, and also the ability to say, hey, I can probably focus on something else rather than my fears. I can focus on something that really gives me vibration. So that it's the magic of the interaction between you and the child, and how credible you are, feeling that they're not being manipulated. I'm a child when I work with children. I ask questions. I'm really curious. I'm really curious to find out. When a child comes up and says, I'm afraid to go to bed tonight because there's going to be like monsters, that's part of my books, for instance, that are going to be underneath my bed, and there's shadows, and I say, wow, those shadows do exist. They do. Where do they come from? And so where do they come? I'm really asking. I'm not making fun of them. And so where do those shadows come from? Are they like shadows, like Peter Pan shadows that where he's chasing, or are they real? And then they realize that those shadows are part of the furniture. Oh, so your mind really starts makes those shadows probably more monstrous. Yes. And I asked him, you know where that comes from? He's not really. I said, well, I'm going to give you a little lesson of how our brain created all this.